Late on the draw. My bad.
Because we're being boop attacked. We're being booped to death. Here, let me get this out of the shot. Happy Friday, guys. Look at my shirt. I've been doing that all day. You'll have to get the Etsy shop up that we bought this from. I have the best deviled egg.
I'm not going to do that.
I have the best deviled egg recipe. Anyway, happy Friday, guys. Welcome to the Friday Bean. It is Webvember, which means that we have a super fun webinar today. I'm in a silly mood. Mark's apparently going through a crisis, so he might be quiet for a little while.
No, I'm okay. Animals have just been animals.
Yeah, dogs have been eating poop, and the cats have been like misbehaving, and everybody's just naughty today. But we've got some fun stuff on the horizon. Today's webinar, you guys don't have to give me some feedback on this one. Last week I was really happy with the layout of it. This week I feel like it's a lot of like jumbled stuff. Just let me know what you think of the format. Maybe it's I'm probably just being too critical of myself. But anyway, we'll get into all that in just a second. I think that we're probably good to share our screen already. Actually,
People are saying it's very quiet, and I don't know why that is.
Like,
is that any better? Does that sound better? I pulled the mic up a little bit.
Are we too quiet? Let us know. Quiet audio today. Hope your anniversary camping was good. It was not camping. We were in a cabin. However, the listing said it was like 3,000 square feet. They messed up. It was like 300 square feet.
All right, cool. Glad it's better. I don't know. Windows has been doing a lot of updates, and every time there's an update, it affects how the audio comes through. With my Rodecaster, I change nothing on my end, and it is just dramatically different every time Windows does an update. So.
Didn't ask.
They did.
Didn't ask. I love you.
She wants me to leave.
He's gonna go get the milk. All right, let's share the screen. Let's get into it. Guys, I should have crossed off the first one. So if you haven't already, go ahead and grab a screenshot of this. This is week 2 of Webvember. If you're new here, we're going to be doing live webinars every single Friday leading up to December 1st, which is the opening of Handmade Alpha Academy. That is my 9-module self-paced training program that we'll talk about here in just a few minutes. But it also kicks off Critique Week, which is going to take place December 1st through the 5th. Every single day. It'll be a Monday through Friday. This time around, we are going to be streaming every day for 1 hour, critiquing random Etsy shops from the chat. You have to be here live to participate in that. We do this twice a year. The Critique Week when Handmade Alpha Academy is open to promote the event, but also to promote our charity of the month. We don't do a charity every month. We're always doing a charity, but some of them last longer. Yeah. Anyway. Then we're also going to have after that, there's going to be an episode about things to get on the Etsy naughty list, how to stay on the nice list, because it's going to be Christmassy, and I thought that would be fun. But then you really want to mark December 19th on your calendars, because we'll be doing our Alpha annual holiday party where we play games and give away prizes, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm still trying to figure out some of the logistics for that, but it's a good time. So grab a screenshot of this if you haven't had the ability to do so. That way you can get these dates down on your calendar. And can I have the mouse? Okay.
Yeah. Good thing to click over there anyway, so we don't accidentally end the stream again.
Yeah. And obviously, guys, we do these for charity. Please consider donating. I did see, Allie, donated $20 to St. Jude. We are trying to get the charity up to $7,000. I have a feeling we can do that today. I wanted to do up to $7,000 by the end of the year.
We already did.
Oh, we're at over 1,000 or 7,000.
7,001.
Awesome. Let's get it up to 8,000. It's only November. I think we can get it up to 8,000 by December.
So
by January 1st. Come on, guys. We can do it. Mark and I are here every single week, and then it's going to be every single day hanging out with you. I got to put on makeup. Mark's got to put on his mustache. Like,
Yep, gotta put it on.
yeah. So please consider donating if you like what we do here. All right. We also started up last week our Alpha Holiday help initiative. If you are struggling at all this holiday season, whether it be buying groceries or getting gifts for your children, we want to create opportunities where you can get community help. So in the Handmade Alpha Facebook community, which is linked down below, or you can just go to Facebook and search Handmade Alpha Facebook community, we have a pinned post right at the top of the group where you can post an Amazon wish list. Please be sure to actually read the post. There's, some guidelines and things to make sure that you're following the rules. But we also need some alphas to be angels. And basically the angels will go in and purchase all of the items on your wish list for you. Last year, it turned out so amazing. We literally, every single wish list that was posted was purchased. So if you have the extra money to spare, I think we have a limit up to like $40 for the wish list. So it should be relatively affordable. If you're able to help, please consider doing so. If you need that help, please don't be afraid to ask for it. And all of the Alpha Angels, the ones who buy the wish list, I'll be entering all of you into a drawing for a prize that I have not yet decided, but we'll be announcing winners for that during the Alpha Holiday Party. So you guys will be entered in a drawing to get something. I just haven't decided what yet. So I just figured that it would be a fun way to say thanks to those of you who were charitable enough to contribute to those who needed it most. So again, that can be found. The Facebook group is in the description, or you can just search Handmade Alpha Facebook community. Oh, I didn't update this. I did it again. I'll go in and update it before the end of the stream. It's a new thing. I know. I'm so bad at it. I did it on the YouTube video this week, and I didn't do it on this one. Anyway, guys, thank you to our sponsors. I do apologize that some of you are not on here. I would need to swap this out for the new stream or the new screen. But we started a brand new Patreon account to provide a little extra, just some fun stuff. And because I do not accept paid sponsorships here on YouTube, nobody pays me to recommend things, even though I literally have thousands of dollars of requests for sponsorships in my emails every day. I don't like doing that, because if I recommend something to you guys, I want it to be because it's something that I actually use and like, not because somebody paid me to say it. So you guys can be our sponsors. And in return for being a sponsor of the channel, you also get some free fun stuff. So, well, not free fun stuff, you subscribe to it, but anyway. So we've got 3 different tiers, either $5, $15, or $25. Mr. Moore will post the link to the Patreon so that you can compare what you get depending on which plan that you pay for. But it's going to range from the price of a cup of coffee to the price of a nice big breakfast every month. And there are also lots of Webvember incentives in here. There's some really great holiday, I know you're so mad. There's some holiday Canva marketing templates. There's a blog post. The November Trends Digest is available. I believe the holiday graphics pack, if it hasn't released it, I think it's releasing on Saturday, tomorrow. If you guys haven't gotten it already, it's all scheduled ahead of time. There is a cyber sale checklist to get your Etsy shop ready. For the Gold Star Alphas, which is the $25 tier, you guys can enter your shops in for a November shop critique roulette. So I pick a random shop every month to critique. And if you notice that there's now some spaghetti up in the top right corner, Mr. Moore is really upset that more people did not comment on his... For real? He's so excited to offer his recipes to you guys, and only one comment on his spaghetti. Mm-hmm. So
it was tomato sauce, not spaghetti. But
well, yeah, it's pasta sauce.
Yes,
but it's for spaghetti or a noodle of choice, right? He asks me every day, did anybody else comment on my spaghetti?
These aren't ChatGPT recipes. These are like from scratch from an Italian guy recipes.
Forget all of the trends and the holiday graphics and the templates.
Eat my spaghetti.
Mark wants feedback on his spaghetti. There's also a meatless version in there.
I more want people to interact so they can tell me what the next thing they want me to give them a recipe for is.
Yeah.
That's it.
I say the mushroom and leek Gruyere pasta.
I don't want to do pasta. I don't want to do that.
I like pasta.
I'm not trying to get everybody fat.
And lastly, Handmade Alpha Academy, which is my self-paced Etsy training program, opens December 1st. That is a 9-module training program. It comes with so much stuff, and you get lifetime access to me. So if you need any help on your Etsy journey, all you have to do is email me. There's that stupid OBS thing that I don't fix. All you have to do is email me, but you also get literally an A to Z roadmap on building, growing, and marketing your Etsy shop based on human psychology. It is the only Etsy course in the world that focuses primarily on psychology and neuromarketing. And you also get 12 months of eRank Pro, which is $120 value included with the program. You get annual access to our Alpha Holiday Bootcamp. So normally you've got to pay between $60 to $120 a year for that, but HAA students get in for life every single year. And you get access to Christina Nicole's Product Photography Essentials Workshop. That's normally almost $300 on its own, and all students get access to that. So you guys get so much awesome stuff, plus the program, any updates that we make to the program. When the course updates, you guys get updates for that as well. So that will be opening on December 1st. And there is a down below in the video description, there's a waiting list link. That does not obligate you to buy it. However, it does ensure that you get an email when doors open, because we only open it from December 1st through the 10th. And then we won't open again until June. So, okay, I think that we're good. I think that we're good for webinar time.
A lot of people asking for crock pot or Dutch oven recipes, which I tell you what, Dutch oven cooking is literally my favorite form of cooking, so bet.
Okay, there we go. I think that Dutch oven would be, but not everybody has a Dutch oven, so you might.
But most people have a crock pot, and they're pretty much the same thing, so.
That's true.
I can just convert my recipes.
All right, guys, are we ready? Is everybody ready? I think so.
I'm ready.
All right, so we have another psychology-focused webinar today. Last week, if you missed that stream, definitely go back and watch it. It was fantastic. This one is, it's kind of on the same vein of human psychology. I really think that psychology is one of the most underutilized aspects of marketing. I mean, marketing is psychology, but just a lot of people, when they think about marketing, they don't think about how it actually affects the human brain. And that's kind of my wheelhouse. So, and again, if you enjoy some of the things that we talk about today, these just brush the surface of what you'll learn in Handmade Alpha Academy if you decide to join. So think of these like a sample of an expansive amount of knowledge within HAA. HAA students, some of these are just kind of like icing on the cake, little bits that you probably either already know a bit about or that are more holiday specific. I'll probably move all these into the bonuses vault eventually. Okay, so we're going to start with decision fatigue and the paradox of choice. HAA students probably already know The Paradox of Choice is one of my all-time favorite books by Barry Schwartz. It's a fantastic read for those of you who enjoy psychology books. It is not a marketing book, but it will teach you a lot of concepts that translate directly into marketing. So starting out, choice overload. This is one of the most common things that I see on Etsy. Choice overload will lead your customers away. They will not purchase if they are overwhelmed with too many choices. So they often delay that purchase, or they avoid buying because they have that fear of making the wrong choice. This is loss aversion. They don't want to risk making an incorrect choice that is going to lead to that mental pain. Now, last week we talked a little bit about dopamine and how the brain wants to obviously, obtain pleasure, avoid pain. Every decision that we make is based on obtaining pleasure, avoiding pain. Whether it be good or bad, that can also lead you to become an alcoholic, but for the, which, that kind of just prolongs the pain, but you guys get the point. We seek pleasure, we avoid pain. But if we are faced with too many decisions or too many options, we often will feel like maybe we'll make the wrong choice. Therefore, we just decide not to choose at all. I actually have quite a few Etsy shops saved in my favorites right now where they have a lot of different things that I'm interested in, but I don't know which thing to buy. And because of that, I've never bought anything from them. A lot of the times when it comes to these shops, I just send them to Mark and I say, buy me something from here for Christmas. I don't care what. That way I push the decision off on him. So the brain wants to save its energy. And we talked a little bit about this last week as well, how we kind of default to certain purchases, like toilet paper, for example. You know, our brain wants to save energy. Therefore, when we go into the toilet paper aisle, we don't sit and analyze every single brand of toilet paper on the shelf, right? We usually have one brand that is tried and true, and we always buy that single brand because we know that that's the brand that we like, and we don't have to weigh any other options. So the brain does not want to think too long or too hard about a decision, because that uses up your finite brain energy. You only have so much glucose to burn through every day. It's why breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And it is also why you get fatigued towards the end of the day. It is never a good idea to do your hard work at the end of the day. You want to do it early. All the same reasons, but just, remember, the brain wants to save its energy, and it doesn't want to think too long or too hard about making a decision. It wants something that is very obvious to it. The more choices that you incorporate in for the brain, the harder it becomes for that brain to make a decision. One of my favorite quotes by Barry Schwartz in this book is that I'm going to misquote it, but you'll get the point. Barry said, "We have far too many options for breakfast cereal and not enough options for president." And I loved that quote because this book is it's nowhere near like a modern book. It came out a long time ago, but I just feel like relevancy today is even more because...
Paraphrasing is what you were looking for.
Yeah, it's even more relevant today that we have too many options for breakfast cereal and not enough options for president.
Quit eating sugar for breakfast. Bad for you.
So another great quote from The Paradox of Choice. There's several different book covers if you go shopping for this book, which I highly recommend that you do. If your book cover, this is the one I have with the egg, but if it doesn't look like this, it's still the same book. It's been in circulation for a while. Learning to choose is hard. Learning to choose well is harder. And learning to choose well in a world of unlimited possibilities is harder still, perhaps too hard. So a lot of this book, what I find the most interesting about it is it talks about how the number of choices that we have today, like you would think that choices give us more freedom and then it makes us happier. But he was actually comparing levels of like happiness and depression to that of countries that literally don't have choices because they don't have freedom, and how the people are actually happier. And they have less depression. Now, obviously, that's controversial. Please read the book because, again, I'm probably not doing it justice, but it's a very interesting read. Okay, so under the paradox of choice, we need to also remember that holiday shoppers are under time pressure, but they're also dealing with a lot of mental clutter, right? So not physical clutter, mental clutter. There is a time constraint because they have to buy things quickly. There are, deals that they're afraid they're going to miss out on. There are shipping deadlines that they're afraid that they might miss out on. But there's also so many options in between all the pressure that they already experience. So there are a lot of things that are contributing to shopper stress that is going to make it very, very hard for these shoppers to make a purchasing decision. Here's one of the biggest mistakes that I see, especially POD sellers making. I see this in Handmade too, but mostly in POD. Too many variant styles or confusing options equal loss of sales. What you're seeing here is the standard Bella Canvas t-shirt. These are the available colors on Printify.
That's a lot.
And I see sellers all the time that will literally offer every single color.
You know how hard it is to decide when you've got this color and this color and this color and this color being almost freaking identical?
Do you want blue gray, kind of blue gray, blue green gray, blue off blue gray, blue gray gray?
You want robin's egg, faded robin's egg, blurry robin's egg, or gray robin's egg?
So if there's too many options, again, I did the same thing with Marc with this shirt. I was just like, just buy me a shirt. Buy me, pick one out. You buy me a shirt. So here's in my shop, one of the listings from our store. Simplified, clear choices lead to higher conversion. Keep it simple. It is your job as the seller to make the expert choices for them. Do a little bit of research into your industry. So Michelle and I, we sell in the bookish industry, And we will often get on like, TikTok and the Bookstagram, and we'll just go through and see what some of the other influencers are wearing, or what bigger brands like the Bookish box, what color shirts they sell. And we just sell the same shirts. We noticed that in that heather mauve in the bottom right there, we noticed that color was really, really trendy. We saw people wearing it all the time. So we offered a bunch of shirts in that heather mauve. And then because it was a fall shirt, I also offered it in peach. But that's it. Those are the only two options. I had 50 different options I could have picked from. And we just offered the two that we liked the most.
What in the world?
So some action steps for you guys. First of all, curate that holiday selection. You are the expert. You are the shop owner. You know better. You know the trends. So a couple things that you can do is create a bundle. This gets a little harder depending on what industry that you're in, but if possible, creating an obvious choice purchase for your shoppers. So if you offer, bracelets, necklaces, and earrings, can you bundle them for a little cheaper than if they were to buy those items separate? Bundle them into a set. That way, when you make a sale, that is a higher price sale than if that person were to only have bought one of those items. You create an obvious choice because they feel like they're saving a little bit of money by buying it within a bundle, but you are guaranteed a bigger, higher volume sale, and you've made the choice easier for them because they get all of the expert picks together. And you could do this for anything. You could do it for a bath set. You could do it. There's so many, a set of prints, a set of holiday cards. There's so many ways that you could create a good bundle for them. Shopper-friendly navigation through your shop sections. This is a big one. Break down your shop sections in a way that makes sense for shoppers. Don't just, I hate when I go to a POD shop and it's like t-shirts and then there's 6,000 t-shirts in there. Okay, cool. But break them down by how I would actually shop for those t-shirts, if it's jewelry and you only sell earrings, break them down by color or material. Break them down in the way that makes sense for your shoppers. And if you're not sure, if you're kind of like, man, what would make sense? Post in the Handmade Alpha Facebook community. Again, that's linked down below in the video description. Ask people like, hey, here's my shop. And you can, for things like this, you can link your shop. You can't link your shop to advertise. Trust me, I know the difference. I can tell what you're doing. But you can post your shop in there and say, look, these are my existing shop sections. This is what I sell. What shop sections would make the most sense? Only offer the very best variants, especially if you're POD. Don't offer all those t-shirts. Nobody needs that many choices in the color blue. Pick the very best options. 2, 3, maybe even 4. You don't need 10 options. You don't need 20 options. And then something else you can do is highlight the most popular variant. If you have several variants in your listings, then maybe as your second photo, you show the most popular color and you put the words like most popular. Just so people know, okay, most people like the heather mauve t-shirt. That's a safe bet for me. I'm going to buy that variant because people have, like we talked about last week, we have a bit of a tribe mentality. And if somebody else has tested it, there is less risk attached to that purchase because somebody else has already tested it for you. So, and then they can go and look at the reviews for that color and decide for themselves if they want to trust what everybody else's instincts have said. So basically, we just want to make them or help them to decide faster. Okay, so contrast, urgency, and trust cues. These are 3 different points of contact within your listings and marketing. So first of all, contrast, that makes your buy path very visually obvious. We want to get rid of anything that causes a barrier to purchase. And the one that drives me the most bonkaroos, and there's at least a handful, there's how many are you? 229 viewers. There are at least a handful of you in here. I'm going to guess like 10%, maybe even 15% of you don't do this very important thing. Could be more. Please, where the heck do I buy your products on social media? There are so many of you where I will see you on Instagram and I will love your product and I'll go to your bio and there is no link. I will go to your Facebook page for your business and there is no link. You will talk in your captions about buy it now, and there is no link. On Instagram, you will post a link in your Instagram caption for a photo, but those links aren't clickable, so there is no link. You've got to put it in your bio. There are so many times that I have wanted to shop and I have had to go in and try to manually search for a shop, and then I can't get it to pull up. And then you know what? I'm just like, screw it. This is not worth the hassle. Shoppers aren't going to do that. Shoppers are not going to go on a wild juice chase.
Less than 3 clicks is what you want to aim for with anything.
Right.
2 clicks if you can.
You have got to make it extremely obvious. Buy here. Have you ever posted something on social media like, here is my item? And you even include the link to buy it, and people are like, where do I buy it? Where do I get one?
That's probably the number one question we got.
How do I purchase? How do I place an order? And so we really have to make it as obvious as possible. Next is visual hierarchy. This is another one that we experience a lot during our critique sessions. So fewer competing visuals gets your eye where it matters. So if we look at this image here, if Christina Nicole was here, I know exactly what she would say, our wonderful product photography coach. She would say, that's too much crap on that picture.
Agreed.
There are too many things on that picture. And I see so many of you who are like, oh, it'll look so cute. I'll put some leaves and some pumpkins and some Christmas trees and some garland and some ornaments and some Christmas lights and some pine tree branches and some snow and a snowman. And it'll go on and on and on. And then I'm like, okay, what in this picture are you actually selling? If I were to simplify this image, take those little props, they're cute. They fit the color of the bracelet, but let's scooch them over to the side. Let's put them on the perimeter, and let's make sure that our focal point is the thing that's actually for sale. This is so important when it comes to actually reducing that mental fatigue. It makes it obvious what that point of purchase is. What we want to make sure that we're not disrupting their buy path. All of this looks really cute, but we're not trying to do a fashion photo shoot or a beautiful, nature photo shoot. We're trying to sell a product. We want to make sure that the customer's eyes are 100% focused on the thing. We want to make sure that we're making the buy path clear. All right. I hope this is where the video clip is going to be. So up to 90% of snap judgments about products are based on color alone. This is extremely important. The color that most people gravitate towards, actually, it used to be blue. I'm going to guess it used to always be blue. I'm going to guess that it might have shifted more towards grays and beiges since, the sad mom beige trend. I usually opt for gray or beige. But I know with jewelry, it was almost always blue. You were always supposed to use blue as your thumbnail if you had multiple variants for jewelry. So that's probably still true. I'm going to show you guys a clip, and we don't know what the volume's going to be like, so I'm going to let it play through some of the beginning.
Sorry if it's super duper loud. I have my volume thing literally here ready to go. This
is a clip from That 70s Show. Mark and I, fun fact, we can quote literally every single episode of That 70s Show front to back because we watch it every year. You guys will have to let me know. I'm just going to play.
If it's more than 30 seconds, we will get a copyright strike, just so you're aware.
It's fine. I don't care. We won't get a strike. They'll just demonetize it. They won't strike us.
Okay.
Let us know if you can hear it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the captions.
Not very loud.
I'm dead weight. I'm quitting, kitty.
I had to turn the whole way up.
Okay. Let us know if you can hear it. This isn't the part where I need them to see. I'm just trying to.
Because if things keep going like this, Bob's going to fire you.
All right, I'm going to pause it so that we can make sure that they were able to hear it first and foremost before I go to the point where you guys are actually supposed to watch. So the context while I'm waiting. Yes. Okay. So the context for those who haven't watched That 70s Show or who need a refresher. Red, the dad, Red works for his best friend's appliance store, and he's not able to sell anything because he's a bit of a hard ass. And a lady came into the store and she didn't know what model refrigerator she wanted. She didn't know anything about like the refrigerator. She only knew what color she wanted. And he basically like told her that she was a dumbass and he, drove her off.
Oh, that would help.
And he's so upset that, he's not making sales at Bob's appliance store. So, okay.
I figured out why it was so quiet.
Okay.
Because your weird butt turns the YouTube volume down instead of the volume on your computer. Turn it up. Let's go.
All right, you guys ready?
Yeah. Go.
Okay.
It's a joke, Red. Oh, I know. Let's do some role playing.
What?
Some role playing. I'll be the interested customer and you be the helpful salesman.
Does this end up in the bedroom?
We'll see. Okay, here we go.
I hate that we don't have volume.
Yeah.
My, that's a lovely blender.
This is stupid.
Red.
Well, it's got stainless steel rotor blades so it can crush ice, which is why I keep it out here at the bar. And it has the highest wattage that you can get without moving up to the industrial model, which would cost you twice as much.
Well, now, see, we have had this blender all these years, and I never knew that's why we bought it.
You didn't know that? How could you not know that?
Well, Brad, everybody doesn't research every product before they buy it.
Well, then they're dumbasses.
Well, that's right. And that's why they need you to tell them what to buy. Well, I think you are just tailor-made for this job. Heck, I go in to buy something, all I know is what color I want.
You're one of them.
Well, I think you should be...
Okay.
You're one of them.
You're one of them. Okay, so anyway, the point being is that Kitty has a really good point. People are dumbasses, and it's your job to tell them what to buy because most of the time, all they know is what color they want. So anyway, I just loved that clip. I thought that it was highly relevant for the entire presentation. So in summary, the brain scans really fast when we're looking at a search page. So we want to give it a very clear target, a color. This is the item. This is the exact thing that I want to buy.
I agree. That 90s show did suck.
I know.
It's very unfortunate.
I liked it after we rewatched it. We had to watch it.
It still doesn't feel like anything from the 90s.
I
It kind
know.
of just feels like a cash grab.
All right. So urgency and scarcity. This is my favorite one. So this is limited time or limited edition. If you can't do limited time or you can't do limited edition, you can do one or the other depending on what your product is. So we're going to use Lori as an example. Sorry, Grandma Susie's scream came out there. Did you hear that? We're going to use Lori as an example. She's an HAA student. She does fantastic work. Absolutely love her shop, Lori's Laboratory. But Lori is an expert at this, so much so that even though I teach this in HAA, Lori had me falling for it, falling victim to it a couple years ago. So Lori makes these beautiful jars. This isn't the exact one that I have, but it's very similar to the one that I purchased. And when Lori first listed these jars with these wolves, I saw it and I said to myself, oh my God, I haven't bought anything from Lori before, but I have to get myself one of these. These are beautiful. And there's only one in stock. I have to buy it. So I, went in and I purchased it right away and I messaged her and I'm like, I saw you only had one left. So I knew I had to place the order. She's like, did I really only have one left? Because Lori sells a higher end product, she only, even though she has multiples, she only lists one at a time so that she can keep that low stock notice on her products. This is an example of how scarcity pushes people to make that decision a little bit faster so that they're not sitting and debating that purchase. So there's a lot of different things in our daily life, especially those.
Oh my God.
Did anybody here actually get one of those Bear Starbucks cups? Let me know. I have Apparently Starbucks stores only had like 5 each or something. But the brain reacts to deadlines and scarcity as signals of value. Things that aren't very expensive or things that aren't necessarily, made with amazing, Labubu's aren't made with crazy top quality material. But because there is scarcity, people automatically value them more. Same with these bear cups that are now going for like $5,000 on eBay, and Stanley cups that women were trampling each other for a couple months ago, and Labubus that you literally cannot purchase anywhere, to the point that there are fake ones all over.
I love the AI generated ones in Amish country.
Oh, that was pretty funny. However, it can backfire if you overuse this tactic. Are there any Bath and Body Works candle people here? How many of you have ever purchased Bath and Body Works candles for the new listed price? It was $25. They're now $27. How many of you have actually purchased a Bath and Body Works candle for $27.99? I have never purchased a full price Bath and Body Works candle, and the reason is because I know that every single month Bath and Body Works will reduce the price of these candles to between like $15, $13, and sometimes they even have Candle Day where the candles are $10. I will never pay full price for a Bath and Body Works candle, because I know, especially because I have their app, I know that these candles go on sale all the time. So I don't associate these with $27 candles. These are like $13 candles to me. I know that I'm going to only pay $13 for these candles.
Or $7 on rare occasions.
That's mostly Goose Creek. I've kind of converted to Goose Creek candles because they smell just as good.
Paying $23 for a candle is idiotic.
Yeah. All right, so action steps. There's a couple different ways you can do this. You can do what Lori does and list things more limited if it's something that is higher price where people aren't going to buy multiple, or you can just list, 5 at a time, 3 at a time. You can also use lines in your marketing, like, only 5 left. Order by Monday for holiday delivery, depending on what your deadlines are, or order in time for holiday delivery. You can talk about your sale. Our sale ends in 12 hours. Sale ends in 5 hours on social media. There's a lot of different ways, but basically you want to make sure that you advertise what we call in HAA the conditions of the crunch. So basically the conditions in which they can still make that purchase, your very strict conditions, whether it be a sale, whether it be a quantity, or maybe you're creating something that's very limited or one of a kind, even being able to express, this is a one of a kind item. All right, next up, are you guys talking crap about my scents?
Mm-hmm.
You know what?
They're insanely bad for you, and you have asthma.
You have one lit right now.
For you.
That it was for you.
For you.
That was for you.
No, the scent was for me. The candle is for you.
Okay. All right. So trust cues. So obviously, if you trust something, you're more likely to purchase it. This is kind of what all of last week's episode was about. We talked about repeat buyers building trust, and once they make one purchase, they're more likely to make another because they've already risked it once and they've found that you're trustworthy, and they're more likely to come back and buy again. So we want to make sure that we're advertising our trust cues so that we can build that credibility faster. So first of all, social proof, that is going to remove any friction right away, and buyers feel way less risk when they see that there are positive reviews for something. They see that there are photos in the reviews of how the item looks, in the customer's hands. They, have you guys ever gotten on a website where they use the proof plugin where it'll say like so-and-so from Arizona purchased blah product, and then every few seconds it'll pop up and you can see like, wow, people are buying things right now because of the proof app. So reviews, obviously, that's going to be the easiest and the most important for sellers. Not only do reviews help you to help with the credibility for your shop overall and build that social proof, but reviews also help your products because it will build your listing quality scores. Those positive reviews tell Etsy's algorithm that that customer enjoyed that product enough to leave a review for it. Therefore, that listing is more likely to rank higher in search. So those reviews, they bring a ton of value way after that initial purchase. Obviously, I'm going to recommend that you guys check out my swipe files over at alphasugar.com. Can you put that in the chat? alphasugar.com. Basically, SSAR stands for Sale, Ship, Arrive, Review. These are copy and paste messages that you send throughout the transaction process after a purchase to your customer. I have been promoting these now for, I think we're going on 7 years. They became so wildly popular that Etsy even published an article basically stealing my idea and giving sellers the same guidelines. So they are definitely Etsy approved, and they dramatically help to increase your rate of positive reviews. For anybody who uses these and has seen an increase in your positive review, feel free to post in the chat and let everybody know, because I know that this is scary, right? Messaging customers feels spooky, but it really does help. All right. Next up is your thumbnail and your listing visual psychology. We obviously touched on this a little bit, but we're going to dive in just a bit deeper. Photo on the left, bad. Photo on the right, much better, because we want to reduce the friction that could prevent somebody from quickly understanding what is for sale, what your item is, and details about it like the colors. So in that holiday time scroll, when someone is quickly scrolling on their computer or scrolling through social media or scrolling in the Etsy app, your thumbnail is the billboard that will either get scrolled past or, or it will stop the scroll and make them say, hey, this looks kind of cool. So, thumbnail design rules. These are super quick and to the point. Please don't use just this as your only photo advice ever. Go to Christina Nicole's channel. She is fantastic. And she gives way more like actionable tips for shooting those photos. But here's the bullet points. Obviously, clear and focus on the product. Avoid all the clutter. Your product should be front and center, easy to figure out what's for sale. Don't let the props overshadow what the item is. Look at some of the styles that Etsy loves. So I went through Etsy's top 100. They have a new section for the holidays just called Top 100, and it's like what Etsy employees chose as their top 100 listings. You'll notice that there are some unique styles for these top 100. The very first in the top 100 is this lady smiling really big over a red background, holding up this map. What is it, a scarf? The ornaments with the oranges kind of faded. This one's interesting. This even looks like it might be a POD shirt, which Etsy very seldom, advertises. It just says cannoli on it, but there's cannolis in the background. I never see Etsy advertise POD clothing, and this might not be POD. They might print it themselves, but just the way that this thumbnail is laid out, it looks great. Lots of photos that bring life to the products. It's a New York City skyline menorah, but you can see the table is all decorated. It looks like a kid's play rug, but it's got all the toys on it, so it's been given life. A baguette candle, it's lit. There are some garlic cloves and spaghetti. This little girl holding this little Yeti. Just a lot of life to all of these product photos. It gives you an idea of them in use, or it makes sure that, the product is the focal point. There are props being used in some way, but there's no confusion about what you're receiving. So those first impressions that customers, make when they see your product, they're instant on Etsy. We don't have a lot of time. In Handmade Alpha Academy, we have a lesson called the Orangest Orange. And I'm not going to go into, the full lesson, but the premise of the Orangest Orange is that you go into the grocery store and you look at all the oranges and you spend all this time going through and selecting the orangest of the oranges, the orange with the orangest peel, and you fill up your bag. When in reality, you have just wasted all of that time because the color of an orange does not dictate what the orange inside the orange actually tastes like. However, you still chose the orangest orange based on its peel. So even if two products are exactly identical or, mostly identical between two shops versus you and your competitor, having the orangest orange will ensure that you are the one that gets picked. Having the very best photos, having the very best branding, having, the very best visual presentation is going to ensure that you are the orange that gets picked, even if in the mail, the product that arrives to them is, of the same quality. So there's also the visual intensity trade-off. This is the one that I feel like I see the most during Critique Week. Mark, I'm sure, will probably agree. But too much flash reduces trust in conversion.
This drives me nuts. I will not even buy from a shop that does this.
You don't need all these things. You do not need a bunch of things on your listing photos. Go take them off. They don't need to be on there. Made in the USA, bestseller, free shipping, shop now, buy it now. Here's my logo. Follow me on social media. Save all that. If you need to put things like that on your photos, don't let it be on your thumbnail. Don't put your logo on your thumbnail. I know that sounds crazy, but there are AI apps out there that will literally remove that logo in an instant. The only exception, I think, is if you do like artwork, where someone can just steal your artwork and reprint it on a new product. But for the most part, if you're selling bracelets and things like that, if Temu's going to steal your photos, they are going to do it anyway.
Right.
Like there's really nothing that's going to stop somebody who's determined to steal.
I just saw a video of Abraham Lincoln on stage DJing a rave. Your watermarks don't stand a chance.
Oh, yeah.
So,
AI is here, baby.
Yeah, it's here and it's in full swing and it's not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So too many defense agencies now have AI tools, so they are not going to be regulated anytime soon. That is a guarantee.
So, I know that you think that what you're doing is developing trust, but this is reducing trust. So I would definitely, I don't know about you guys, but I would absolutely trust the shop on the left a lot more than the shop on the right, even if it was essentially the same product, just because there's way too much going on. Nope. Okay. So the gifting mindset is a little bit different than any other time of year. There are a lot of different reasons that people buy for others. Those in the holiday boot camp, you guys learned a little bit about this. We went in depth with a bunch of different examples of, reasons why people buy, but we'll keep it simple. We buy gifts for selfish reasons. We don't buy gifts. It sounds really bad, but just stick with me. We don't necessarily buy gifts just to make somebody else happy.
Sure.
And what I mean by that is, because it feels totally counterintuitive, right? Like, what? Of course I bought a birthday gift for my husband to make him happy. Well, no, a woman might buy a birthday gift. She might spend time finding this beautiful, special custom watch for her husband, who is normally very overworked and stone-faced and stoic, because what she wants is, in the moment that she gives it to him, what she is thinking about as she's making that purchase is finally, after all his hard work and, seeing that stone face every day, seeing that little glimmer of emotion in his eyes, just seeing that little smile and feeling that little bit of gratitude from him. So she's not just buying for him, she's buying for that moment that she gives him that beautiful gift. And I think that as women especially, I definitely think that men feel it too, but I think as women, we plan the moment of giving. You know what I mean? We're not just thinking about the item. We're thinking about every element of opening the item and what their face is going to look like, to the point where we get upset if they don't react the way that we'd hoped.
Said that lady has no teeth.
She doesn't have any. You guys, pay attention. I need a ruler. I feel like a teacher. Anyway. She does.
We are just a bunch of unruly teenagers.
You are, all of you.
Sorry.
Detention to you all.
But I agree.
But anyway, we buy gifts to satisfy selfish reasons while also giving something to someone else. So, and those gifts are extremely symbolic for that moment, because what we want to ultimately say to somebody is, I know you. right? That every single gift that we give is a moment that we're saying, I know you. Here is something that I know that you'll love, right? There's a downside to this. As an Etsy seller, because, we make mistakes sometimes. I mean, I'm sure that there's a couple of you who have never made a mistake yet.
Yeah, right here.
Yet.
You know me.
Oh, no, we've made some mistakes as Etsy sellers.
That's true.
We've definitely made some mistakes. So we'll get into that in a minute. But everything from the listing, the packaging, and the way that you communicate with that customer, it needs to speak to the symbolic layer and that beautiful moment, not just the item, right? But fostering the meaning and the beautiful moment of gifting that your gift buyers are going to go through. And I'll give you some ideas on how to do that in a few minutes, but really sit today and reflect on what would it be like? What make a big crazy scenario story in your head of someone giving one of your products as a gift and what that might look like and how the person might react to it. So obviously we can help by showing that product all packaged up. I highly recommend offering, even if it's not perfect gift wrapping, just offering some level of cutesiness to your packaging. Tissue paper is so cheap to buy in bulk. You could just wrap it in some nice tissue paper with a little ribbon on it. Do something. Just don't throw it into a package. POD, obviously, that's harder. Most POD, we can't do anything. But if you're shipping your products yourself, try to do something. Unless you do a POD service that offers packaging inserts. Some of them do. And we want to make sure that we're showing them in our product photos what this looks like, because this is going to reduce friction and it's going to reassure the buyers that if they are shipping direct to the recipient, that product is ready to go and it's not going to come, looking like crap. And then, I would also, somewhere within that listing, put in there that it's gifting ready, ready to gift. Here's the gift box that it comes in. Here's how it arrives at your doorstep. Just find some cute wording that expresses that this is what they should expect if this ships directly to the recipient. Because remember how I talked about that moment of gift giving where what we really are buying is the moment that the person opens something? Well, if you're shipping direct to a recipient, you don't get to see that moment, but you have to imagine it, right? You're going to imagine that moment. And then, they're going to call you on the phone and say, "Oh, Betty, I just got your package. I loved it." And that's how you're going to picture it. But if you show them how it comes packaged, even if, they're shipping direct to the recipient, you help to illustrate that mental moment more for them. Here's another fun one. Gift purchasers often tolerate higher cost and time, assuming that they're not a last minute buyer. I think that right now, if they're buying something custom, handmade, personalized, they're willing to wait a little bit longer. Obviously communicate your processing times to them, but if you're customizing something, but they are willing to pay more. Did I put the study in here? Yes. A study found that when buying a gift, people were less focused on saving time or money than when buying for themselves. So people are, even during economic crisis, people are way more willing to spend more money, even what they would normally be comfortable with spending, if that purchase is for someone else. Which is why the holidays are such an, awesome time for Etsy sellers in particular, because people flock to Etsy to buy those quality gifts that they're willing to spend a little bit more money on. However, trust and risk are even bigger in gift mode, because one bad experience is like insulting the Godfather, right? Like one bad experience is almost like you have personally just insulted my grandma who I bought this for, And I see this a lot, unfortunately, in the Printify group, where it happens occasionally with POD, where it's not Printify, it's, the print providers. Printify doesn't print anything. There's print providers under them. But where a completely different shirt will ship than what someone's ordered, like the staff have just gotten them mixed up. and where they will buy, like a customer will have placed an order for a nice like Christian shirt, and then what they receive in the mail is just something absolutely obscene. You know what I mean? Like, you have just insulted my grandma. So people, if you have ordered something for a loved one and it comes and it's just awful or wrong or messed up, like, aren't you more angry because it was for someone else? Like, if it was for you, you can laugh it off. But if it was for someone else, it's almost like someone just spit in grandma's face. Like, it makes you mad. So when someone buys a gift, they're not just buying the item, they're buying the reputation of themselves, because that's their reputation. They're gifting something to someone, you know, and they want their recipient to like that item. And if that recipient is like, oh, why did she buy me this? You know, or why did she send me this? Then that looks bad on you, which is why making sure that you are providing amazing service, double checking those orders before you ship them out, make sure that everything is perfect, and package them really nice. All of those things are going to create a better experience. So, action steps. We want to make sure that those crucial details like your holiday deadlines are absolutely clear. And don't be afraid to communicate if someone places an order after your deadline. Maybe they missed it. If they place an order, maybe your deadline is December 10th, and they place an order on December 11th. Send them a message and say, hey, Betty, I noticed that you placed an order. I just wanted to let you know that my holiday shipping deadline was yesterday, so I cannot guarantee delivery, but I will ship it out as soon as possible so it has the best possible chance of arriving on time. I do want to give you 24 hours to cancel in the event that, you know, that you need it by Christmas. Just give them the option, because what won't hurt your shop is issuing a refund. That's not going to hurt your shop. To cancel an order and issue a refund isn't going to hurt you. What will hurt your shop and your listing quality score and your customer and marketplace experience score, which is your good standing with Etsy and helps you to rank and search, is getting bad reviews. Refund won't hurt you. Bad reviews will. So give them the option if they order after that deadline. I guess that was it. Oh, I blew through that. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out. If you enjoyed this one, if you found it helpful, please consider donating via the button right under the chat to St. Jude Children's Hospital. We hit $7,000 today, thanks to you guys. We do this charity every single year, and we're going to run it until January. St. Jude does so much for the kids. Not only do they assist in cancer research, but during the holiday season, they decorate, they give the kids gifts, Santa comes. It's just really special. And obviously their most important role is that they help parents to pay for life-saving procedures for their children. So please consider donating. Also, if you joined us late, be sure to grab a screenshot. Today was the science of holiday conversion. Next week is going to be the holiday customer service survival lab, where you guys are going to learn how to respond to worst case scenarios and set up your holiday customer service for Cyber Week, which is extremely important because we want to make sure that we're getting those good reviews to help us throughout the year. Those good reviews are going to help your listings rank all year long. And then on Black Friday, we'll have our Black Friday Lifeline Q&A. That way, while you're navigating that, stressful Cyber Week, you can come on and ask us questions. Handmade Alpha Academy opens December 1st, and to celebrate that, December 1st through the 5th, we'll be here live every single day, critiquing your Etsy shops live from the chat. So make sure that you join us at noon Eastern every single day for Critique Week. December 12th, we're going to tell you how to get on Etsy's naughty list and how to stay on their nice list. And on December 19th, we'll have our annual Alpha Holiday Party where we play games and give you guys prizes. And it's like the company holiday party. So obviously, as Etsy sellers, we don't have a company holiday party, but you can join one online and have a lot of fun. We also kicked off this year's Alpha Holiday Angels Help Initiative. So basically in the Handmade Alpha Facebook community, which is linked down below, or you can just search for it on Facebook. There is a pinned post where if you need toys for your children this season and you can't afford it, if you need groceries or essentials, you can post an Amazon wish list, I believe up to $40, might be a little more, onto there, and our alpha angels, which we still need some angels, our alpha angels will volunteer to purchase that list for you. Last year, we had no one go without. Every single list got purchased. So if you're able to help, please consider following that thread. You can comment on it to keep an eye on it if a wish list is posted. And everybody who contributes and who helps and buys a wish list will be entered into a giveaway during the Alpha Holiday Party to win some sort of prize that I have not yet decided. So if you need the help, it's there. If you want to help, please consider checking it out. All right, Handmade Alpha Academy, that opens December 1st. If you have questions about it, I'd love to answer those here live. Primarily just because I hate answering emails. I'll do it if you guys need me to, but I hate emails. I'd rather talk. Handmade Alpha Academy is my 9-module self-paced Etsy training program that teaches you A to Z how to build, market, and grow a dominant brand on Etsy step by step. We cover marketing psychology, brand psychology. We cover SEO. You get 12 months of eRank Pro. That way you don't have to pay for that. If you already have it, I take over your payments for 12 months. You get the Product Photography Essentials Workshop by Coach Christina Nicole. That's normally $300 on its own. That's included with your membership. You get annual access to our Alpha Holiday Bootcamp every single year so that you can game up for Q4 each year. Plus, you get the best Etsy course in the world, in my opinion. I think that our HAA students in the chat can probably share their own experiences, but I've never had an unhappy student in HAA. We are the only Etsy course in the world that is built on a foundation of psychology and neuromarketing. I'm sure that I've talked about it enough in my videos in the past, but I used to be a teacher. I still occasionally go and teach at my high school where I graduated. And teaching is my favorite thing in the whole world to do, and I think I'm pretty darn good at it. So if you have any questions about HAA, it'll only be open from December 1st through the 10th, but your membership is lifetime. So once you're in for life. You get all updates forever. You have access to me forever. If you need to message me, ask questions, have me look over something, I'm always available to do that. And lastly, we kicked off the Alpha Patreon last month. This is not the same as Handmade Alpha Academy. I just need to make sure that I make that clear. Apparently that wasn't clear enough last week. So basically, the Alpha Patreon, as you guys know, I don't take sponsorships here on my channel. I get thousands of dollars in sponsorship requests. I could totally use that money, but I prefer to not... I don't want to be paid to recommend things to you guys. If I recommend something, I want it to be because it's something that I actually use and it's something that I like and it's something that I trust, right? So the Alpha Patreon is our way to allow you guys to be the sponsors of the channel, and in exchange, you get some cool stuff. So there's 3 different tiers ranging from the price of a cup of coffee to the price of a Grand Slam breakfast every month, and each tier will come with different goodies. Mark will give you guys the link to the Patreon because I keep forgetting to put it in the description. Or you can just search Handmade Alphas on Patreon, and I'm the only one, so you'll find me. But you guys can go in there and get all of October's incentives now, and November incentives are already here. There are Canva templates in there this month, so they're super fun. You can throw your product photos right into them. That's what you're seeing over here. There is a blog post. Our November Trends Digest was just released, so I basically go in and research trends for you and then give you a full month's worth of trends. The Holiday Graphics Pack has either just released or it's about to. I can't remember what day those launch. But I have photographed all of these holiday assets myself and removed the backgrounds so they look way better than using like the Canva background remover. They're super great for like creating holiday marketing. November Shop Roulette has started. Basically, you can put your shop in there if you're a Gold Star Alpha, and we do a random drawing every month for a full critique. The Cyber Sale Checklist to get your Etsy shop ready. That's available. And Mark is adding a recipe every single month. And he has both a meaty version and a meatless version of the world's best pasta sauce. It is so amazing. Obviously, it's ideal for spaghetti. but it's so good. Basically, he's trying to create easy recipes for you guys to make that taste like they came from a restaurant, but they're going to help you save money. And spaghetti is something that you can obviously make in bulk and eat off of for several days. So we're going to try to do more recipes like that. And I think that's it. Okay, cool. Is that it?
That's it.
Happy belated Veterans Day, Mark.
Yeah. Oh, no, we were all talking trash to each other. I
Oh.
said chair force, and I said somebody's got to teach them how to tie their boots.
You can't. No chair force.
Hey, look, that's just how it is. I know they had to draw their name on their GED with a crayon, but somebody's got to teach them. Look, here's how I feel about it. Every military movie ever made has Army and Marine dudes pinned down calling for air support.
I mean,
Sorry.
military trash talks worse than anybody
Oh,
else.
yeah.
But it's all in fun. It's all in good fun. All
Unless
right.
you're actually in training, and then it's not fun. I was on a joint training base for all my training, and we did not get along. It's usually because the Marines were always drunk.
What do we have? What do we have? Did we have any questions in here?
Yeah, someone was at the reason this whole started was they asked if military was a good niche. Yes.
You
However,
can't do the
hold on.
branches.
Shush. I'm the military member here. So obviously you can't say, and we've already discussed this, but for anybody else who may be considering military, for one, it's got to be tasteful. It's got to be tasteful.
You'll get canceled.
You will absolutely get canceled. Selling on Veterans Day, okay. Selling on Memorial Day,
Not okay.
not okay. You don't use death as an excuse to make money, ever. Drives me nuts when brands do that. And it's okay if you didn't consider that. It's something that a lot of people don't think of. They think, oh, well, doing a sale, it's honoring. It's the polar opposite. I'm even in the vein, I don't think people should do Veterans Day sales. I think you should do Veterans Day sales for veterans. But as a veteran, I think it's weird that we just let civilians get stuff for cheaper. That's always been weird to me. Also, you got to understand that this is a very hyper-saturated niche. It's also one where you're going to get a lot of aggressive political comments, so you got to be able to withstand that kind of stuff.
Backbone.
You cannot use the logos or names in association with any camouflage logos, unit names, base names, anything that you wear on a uniform that is like officially part of a uniform, unit patches, career field patches, ribbons, anything like that. That's all trademark and copyright. You can't use any of that stuff. You can't use official military patterns unless they are open source, which I don't believe they are.
What about custom orders for people who send like their uniforms to be made into like a pillow for deployment and things like that?
I don't know. You can't see, this is why I said in chat, super duper fine gray line, because technically you can't sell it. Like if somebody sends you a uniform that's got all the unit patches and stuff, and the final product has those unit patches on it, you've made a new product with the unit patches on it. So I don't know.
Right. But you're returning it to them. It was their uniform.
Right.
So...
Right. It's upcycling. I'd say with Etsy, it's probably not okay. But if you're doing it custom, it's probably fine. I don't think the majority of people aren't going to come after you. And my whole thing was somebody was asking, like, can you use the term like wife of a Marine? Technically, yes. But the moment you associate it in your description with like military service and stuff like that, it becomes not okay because the term Marine is trademarked. However, there are different types of Marine. There is marine biology, and marine science. So technically it's okay, but the moment you say like perfect for the wife of a U.S. Marine veteran, like that's immediately associated with the military, so it's not okay. What about patches like flat patches and with military icon art? If it's something that can be worn on a uniform or something that was okay to be worn on a uniform that is not open domain, it's still part of a uniform and it is trademarked. It was designed by somebody to be worn on a uniform, and wearing that in and of itself could be considered, false valor. So again, super duper fine gray line. I'm not going to pretend to be a professional in this kind of stuff. I don't particularly care. Most military members are very proud and probably wouldn't care, but the artists that don't work for the military who design the things for the military do care. So again, yeah, I don't know. just be careful with what you do and just understand that it is a very saturated. And it's also, to me, it's also really weird people who have no association with the military selling military stuff, because the most of, like, you look at the big military brands, you look at like Black Rifle Coffee Company and like all they're vets. They're owned by vets or family members of vets or children of vets, something like that. So somebody sells military stuff that's never even been associated with the military. It's very weird.
And if you're
To me.
And if you're not in the U.S. selling things to the U.S. military, that's automatic. Like, don't do that. Don't do that.
That's very weird.
Don't do that.
Even though
That's
the majority
weird.
of
That's weird.
the majority of stuff in the U.S. is made in China. Pins of the U.S. flag. I don't know. Is the U.S. flag trademarked?
No, flags are not.
I didn't think so.
Flags are fine. What are your thoughts on hybrid style main product images? Example, an actual photo of the product with an illustrated background. I've seen it done really well. One of my favorites, there was one in the Printify group, and everybody was giving this person crap for it. And I loved it, like, because I'm kind of in their niche. Mark and I are big anime buffs. But they had their POD t-shirts, and they had like original, characters and things. Are you here? Are you here, person who did, you had different like Pride shirts of different, like your own anime characters, but the thumbnails, they drew, like they had digital art where they drew their own characters wearing, like underneath the real picture of the shirt. Like they drew under the mock-up, and it looked really cool. I liked that. I thought that fit really well. And anybody who is going to buy something like that is going to think that that's pretty cool. So I really liked the concept. I thought it looked nice. Again, with a lot of the questions when it comes to like product photos, I think it's all about execution. Some people, they'll show me a photo and they'll say, look, I did it the way you said. I'm like, oh, that's not how I said. That's what I said, but you did it badly. I would never say that, but what else we got?
I haven't seen anything else. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and get them in. We still got about 15 minutes.
I would love to answer Handmade Alpha Academy questions here.
I have one. Does it hurt your listing rating when you switch the first picture/thumbnail by uploading a better picture?
No. Your photos, so the algorithm is looking at your title, your tags, your attributes, which are the little drop-down menus, and kind of your description, but mostly for context, not for query matching. Now, what can happen with your photos if you swap out your thumbnail is if for some reason, even if you think the new photo is better, if the customers really liked the first photo, and sometimes customers like the amateur photo more than the professional photo. Pam Duffy has experienced this in her shop, where the customers like her old photos because I guess it feels more handmade for the more amateur photo. But if customers stop interacting with that listing because you updated the photo and they don't like it as much, even if it's a better photo, then your ranking can fall, because ranking depends on positive customer interactions. Now, if that listing isn't selling, you can't hurt what's already broken. So it's fine. But either way, algorithmically, the answer is no. The algorithm, it doesn't matter for the photos. But customers, the way that they interact will directly correlate to your search ranking, because Etsy wants to reward listings that get positive engagement by ranking them higher in search and trying to match them with more customers that are similar to those who are positively interacting with that item. So they'll show it to more people with similar interests that they've studied. So if you change that photo and suddenly nobody's clicking on it, then Etsy's going to say, this is no longer relevant to this type of person.
I just started up Etsy ads for the first time. Is an ROAS of 4.03 a good thing? Is clueless.
Return on ad spend for the first time. What was the return on ad spend?
4.03.
I mean, are you the question? I guess the question, there is really there's no right or wrong answer there. Are you comfortable with the amount of money that you're making based on how your products are priced and the work that you're putting into them? You're feeding a non-numbers brain numbers, when in reality, what I want to know is how much time do you spend on the products? What is your production time like? How much work are you putting into them? Are you comfortable with the amount of money that's coming back? This is where people like me and Hannah Gardner, when it comes to business, are very, very different. Love Hannah. Hannah is like numbers and crunching and ads and, and I love that. That is not how my brain works. My brain is more on the artsy fartsy psychology side and learning about like the power of influence and how to influence human decision making and things like that. So with ads, my questions are always more based on like how you feel about what you're making. Are you comfortable with the numbers that are coming back in versus what you're spending? Are you coming out positive? If you're coming out negative, obviously that's not good. If you're coming out positive, are you coming out positive enough that it was worth it to you? So, I'm not giving you the most professional answer. I'm a little bit more wishy-washy when it comes to the math, and I know all the math nuts out there probably hate that, but that's just how I am. I'm more the artsy fartsy coach. So, if you want more on like the ad crunchy numbers, I would go check out Hannah Gardner's channel. Because she's the one who made the profit tree.
Would say that 3 or 4 more times?
Gardner. Because people always search gardener. And it's not gardener.
It's
Gardner. Okay. Anyway, I'm not a math nut either.
I'm an Air Force vet. Anytime we were in civilian clothes, we were warned that if we wore 3 uniform pieces, we were required to be in full uniform. So it's any uniform. You can't wear them if you're not in uniform. On base.
You can't wear your santee?
No.
Everybody wore their santees.
I will say that's not a piece of a uniform. That's a t-shirt you can wear. The more referring to the blouse, the pants, the boots.
Oh yeah,
we were like, I have seen people absolutely berated for like, why are you wearing your pants with nothing else?
Right.
Freaking moron.
Unless you're like in the barracks or something.
Right. The thing that actually drives me the most nuts is when I see somebody that's like 45 years old wearing a World War II or a Vietnam veteran hat, and I'm like, you're like 45. Vietnam, you'd have to be 67 to 69 years old at a minimum to have been in Vietnam right now.
Maybe it was grandpa's hat, or
yeah,
dad's hat.
People that were in Vietnam in the 90s, drives me insane. Anyway,
what we got?
I think it's usually people who are wearing like their parents' hats or whatever, but it still drives me nuts. The World War II ones are what get me. When there are people that like their hair isn't even gray yet. Like, where did you get this hat, man? Anyway.
I thought it looked cool.
Will keeping my seasonal items up all year benefit the listing at all, or do we just reactivate a few months before it is time?
There's pros and cons to both. So if you've got a large audience, like a social media presence, I would recommend maybe deactivating it and then bringing it back for the holidays. Just, say our seasonal favorites are back. The most anticipated holiday favorites are now back in stock. You can always do something like that and launch them as if they're new and create a big marketing campaign, and it saves you time and effort because you already have those products ready to go. That's what I always did in my first shop because my items, I had a very viral following. But if you're not that person and, there's no harm in leaving them listed. Let's just say that. There's no harm in leaving the products listed. It's not going to hurt them. And once the season comes back around, like first of all, you might make sales throughout the year. People buy things at weird times. For some reason, Christmas in July, but all summer long, we were seeing spikes for Christmas related searches and people were buying Christmas stuff. So you never know. Just don't anticipate that you're going to make a bunch of sales. And, if you do, cool. But to answer your question, it's not going to hurt your listings.
I made the mistake of saying you'd have to be 67 years old, and now it's just 6 7s in the chat. So
oh, what have you done?
What have I done? 6 7. What can I use for the... I know that's going to drive some people nuts. What can I use for the physical item if I want to make a listing for a custom upgrade? Like if they want a sleeve print added.
Physical item if I want to make a listing for a custom upgrade.
So if they have a physical item and someone wants to put something else on it, what do? You make a new listing. You make them a custom listing. Unless I'm misinterpreting what you're saying.
Physical item if I want to make a listing for a custom upgrade. They can't. I would just do it as a paid variant. Do it as a paid
Yeah,
variant.
I think you have to do it as a paid variant. I think didn't Etsy just make it where you're not allowed to do custom
Upgrade.
listings for upgrades and like shipping upgrades and stuff? Yeah,
Yeah.
they did. So don't do that. Bad advice.
Yeah, unless you make the option, unless you have 2 listings and one is for the custom one and one is for the not custom one. But you would have to just make it a paid variant that they pay for, where they pick the drop down menu of if they want the one that's customized or not customized.
My dad is 80 in a Vietnam vet. Yes, but he's not 45, and that's what I was referring to. I make French beaded flowers. Is this a dead niche? I have no way to tell you that.
You've got to be able to do that research on your own.
Yes.
Or just for the millennials I'm trying to reach. I think it's all about how you present them. I think that millennials are willing to buy anything. In fact, vintage items are very popular with millennials right now. So I think it's all about presentation and marketing. I think that you can get anyone to buy anything if you market it correctly.
Does Printify mind if we use their name in listings? I am planning to add some mock-ups for early access items that don't have many mock-ups available. Is it okay to mention Printify in the title?
You need to ask them.
Yeah, that's a bit of a, I don't know. In the title, probably not.
Yeah. Go to, so the Printify Rock Stars group on Facebook, just search Printify Rock Stars, post in there, and tag either Hank, or, tag Hank. Hank will know. Tag Hank Baldwin and ask him. You can even tell him that Starla sent you.
I make gamer inspire. Oh, good God! There we go. I make gamer inspire florals made the Poppy from Poppy Playtime. You cannot use copyright things. Inspired is one thing, but you also cannot say inspired by.
Yeah, you're already unfortunately not. I mean, unless there are some games. What was it? Schedule 1. They said that they didn't care if people made merch.
I don't know.
We watched
don't
in a
quote
video.
That.
The developer, I believe, in one of the videos that we just watched, Schedule 1, they said, and I think it was a Wubby stream, Schedule 1, that he said that he didn't mind. There are some games that don't care. I doubt Poppy's Playtime is one of them. Poppy's Playtime has already grown to almost Five Nights at Freddy's status. And once a game gets that big, you're not usually going to be able to do that legally. And getting sued by a game studio that's big pennies. So not safe at all. You need to target indie developers who have already stated that they don't care. And then I would make sure that you message.
No official quotes found.
I would message them directly, message the studio, try to find contact and ask them, because, games can start small, like Stardew Valley that started small and then turn into like a big game very, very fast. So when it comes to license, and if you guys ever see on my channel videos of me with bookish merch, it's because we are officially licensed. We have to pay the authors who we license with in order to use references to their books on our product. So we pay for that. We don't just do that.
No.
So yeah.
Anyway. Is E-Rank going to have a Black Friday special for their pro plan? No, probably not.
No, we can't offer discounts on E-Rank plans because we're already the cheapest possible option. There was one before that you highlighted and didn't read.
Can you create urgency with digital items?
Sale. Yes. Urgency with a digital item. You can either do limited availability where you only offer so many and you don't just max out the quantity. Or you can do flash sales where you offer, very small sale windows, like 3 days, for example.
What happened with the search history? If I use a sold out listing, changing only pictures with different fabric designs, same product, only changing the name and title, will it keep the search history?
So you can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't take a sold out listing and change it to something else. You're not allowed to do that. Etsy doesn't want you to do that because anybody who has that item in their cart or in their favorites is now suddenly going to have something different in their cart or in their favorites. So don't do that. You need to make a new listing. If you're asking for search history, what I think you mean is listing quality score. Will it keep the listing quality score? The answer is yes. However, when you go and you change the title and all of the images, suddenly the thing that you were previously like being known for by the algorithm changes. So it's not really going to matter all that much anyway. Rule of thumb is that if you have a product that minimally changes, a lot of people have asked about calendars. Like if you have a 2020, if you have a 2025 calendar with moths on it and you need to update it to the 2026 calendar, but all the pictures are the same, they're still moths, that's fine because that's still essentially the same item. If you're making gemstone amethyst necklaces, and every amethyst looks a little different, but for the most part, it's the same general like design, that's fine. But if you're changing from an amethyst to a jasper, suddenly that's not fine anymore because it's not the same item.
Him want uppies.
Him do want uppies.
Him do want uppies, but I got to do comments, so you can't have uppies, but you can sit on my lap. He literally does want uppies. He wants to ride my shoulder.
Well, yeah.
Guys, you're the best. Thank you.
We appreciate you. Starla keep doing the hand motion, but I talk with my hands. It's all the 6-7s. What's wrong with you guys? How old are you?
Oh, God, I hate.
Even our daughter hates the 6-7 thing.
6-7. Heard someone saying to create listings just for an additional print for like $5 and then send them a link. Yeah, Etsy made that not okay. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah, unfortunately. Check their new policies on
oh my gosh, I heard that from a coach
listings.
last week. So sorry for that. I don't know what specifically you're referring to, but I believe
probably what she said about adding a listing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and I had missed that. Are bootleg shirts a good niche? So I'm going through just trying to figure out, because I know there was a conversation taking place. If there's anything copyright in it, no. You can't do that. But if you're referring to the bootleg aesthetic, where you're talking about like the Asian kids who listen to funk and wear tech pants with the oversized shirts with a picture of a random person in black and white that's like indescript, yes, that's a niche. You'd have to be more, yes, it is absolutely a niche. I mean, even big fashion does it, where it's just like a picture of a random person in black and white, like holding up a piece on, like, yes, it is absolutely a niche. But you'll have to be telling me specifically what you mean by bootleg, because if you're talking about like bootleg band shirts and stuff like that, like that's not allowed on Etsy. No copyright at all whatsoever.
It's not allowed anywhere. It's illegal. It's against the law.
But bootleg has a lot of different meanings nowadays. So if you're referring to actual bootleg, yes, Mark, no copyright stuff. Then yeah, that's absolutely that's absolutely a niche. I hope people understand what I'm talking about. Like if you look into big fashion stuff, it's even big there. But like all I think about when I hear bootleg fashion is it's like kids that listen to funk.
like streetwear.
Yeah, like urban streetwear, oversized, like kind of weird black and white
Japanese streetwear.
Yes,
that's I would look more into that niche than the term bootleg.
No copyright bootleg aesthetic only. Yeah, it's absolutely a niche. It's a big niche, but you have to be able to. I don't really think a lot of those people shopping are going to buy that stuff on Etsy. That's more of like that, like, oh, I got to dive deep into a Reddit to find it kind of aesthetic.
I mean, they might. Who knows?
I don't know the audience of that. They're usually pretty uppity. So it's just, again, it depends on what specific you're talking about.
Yeah, Tina, bootleg is always meant stealing copyright stuff. That's what I'm saying. Don't call it bootleg.
You think that, but that's because we're in our 30s or older, and other
maybe
people,
the kids.
The aesthetic is different from the literal term. You can't take things literal anymore.
Like them kids and their crazy lingo.
But the moment you start saying those kids and their crazy lingo is the moment you start getting out of touch, and you can't. Yeah, vaporwave. You can't get out of touch like that because you have to stay on the forefront of what's popular. It's different if you're selling something that like isn't intended for people under 50. But you do kind of have to keep up with things a little bit. It's hard to do, I know.
67, am I right?
Shut up.
Fellow kids?
What is Google Analytics for Etsy? It is an analytical tool that you can connect that allows you to see data on things.
Yeah,
that's a data tool.
Yeah, Google Analytics, that is one that there's no way that I can describe in a video, but it is just a tracking service through Google that can give you data about how people found your Etsy shop. I cannot cover how to hook it up. It's a big pain in the butt, so you'll have to watch a different video for that.
By the way, I saw a digital download that had Harry Potter's face in a lot of the pages, but no reference to Harry Potter in the title. Is that legal to do? No.
Not legal. Very illegal. Warner Brothers is
They'll get you.
Warner Brothers, they are big on issuing those cease and desists. And I know there's sellers who do it, but as we've said in some previous streams, a lot of these big companies will watch and they'll wait until you've made a decent amount of money from their IP so that when they actually hit you with that lawsuit, they've got lots of evidence.
So somebody said, how do you reach out to game developers? Is there someone who would directly handle each conversation? So here's what you got to do. It depends on the size of video game that you're talking about. Developer is almost never going to be the person you reach out to. Publisher is who you're probably going to reach out to. I don't have Steam on this computer to be able to tell you, but publisher is the person that actually takes the product, puts it in, they own the rights to the product in order to put it on the platforms. They put it on Xbox. They pay companies to change it out and put it on Xbox, PlayStation, whatever. The publisher is who you're going to go for. Now, if it's even bigger than that, it might go above a publisher to where it's like EA owns it or something. You know what I mean? Like you have the developer who makes the game, you have the publisher that puts the game out there, and then you have the parent company that owns the publishers. But 99% of the time, yeah, they said Five Nights at Freddy's, Stardew Valley. You're not going to get Five Nights at Freddy rights.
Nope.
Stardew Valley, you might get, but then again, you're going to reach out to the publisher. Poppy Playtime, you got to reach out to the publisher. Publishers are who you're going to be able to reach out to, and I'm telling you right now, other Stardew maybe, but I doubt it. But you're not going to get rights to any of those other things.
No, they're too big. They've gotten too.
They're too big. You don't make.
Bloomhouse already owns Harry Potter.
Okay.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Since we're pretty much out of time here, I'll explain kind of how this happens, and the same thing people are starting to see with the bookish world. Unfortunately, with Sarah Maas pulling her. I want to be very clear. Let me finish my thoughts, please. Sarah Maas is not responsible for what's happening with Sarah Maas rights being pulled. That is not what is happening. She has an uppity publisher or an uppity parent company to the publisher that is pulling those things. They want money, money, money because it's being pulled. She is likely not responsible and likely doesn't even have the authority over her own products enough to say, I wish this isn't happening. She couldn't go to her publisher and say, please give these small people the rights back to their stuff. She doesn't own the rights to her works. Her publishers own the rights to her works, which is why it's so important for people to privately publish.
Well, we communicated, and her actual virtual assistant who handled everything, apparently it was like just them handling it all, and it became way too much.
Yes, which is why they dealt it out to the publisher, and the publisher had an ER person or an PR person who handles all that stuff, who is probably just like, I'm going to handle this the corporate way. And they have 50 agents that already work for the company who they're not going to explain.
Nope, there he goes.
It's fine. Who they're not going to explain different rules to. They're just going to do it the same way that they do it for the 1,000 other books that they do it for. They're not going to give her special stuff. So you're screwed with this kind of stuff. So the way that this kind of thing works, video games are big with this. Movies are even worse with this. TV shows are the absolute worst because you have to go all the way up to like the network level with things. Allowing you to sell an IP is a risk, because if you go out and let's say Warner Brothers allowed Harry Potter to be merched by literally anybody. Now they are responsible for the first jerk that goes and puts a Hitler mustache on Harry Potter's face with some kind of Nazi phrase. They're then going to look bad because they gave you the licensing rights to do that. So they're taking a risk with every single person. So what they want to see most of the time when it comes to licensing is your throughput. If you are not a brand like Target who can sell $500,000 worth of merch over the next 3 years that you sign a contract for, they're not interested in taking a risk with you. They don't know what you're going to do. So if you're a small Etsy seller who sells like 400 t-shirts a year, you are never going to get the rights to these big projects because you don't make enough money for it to be worth it to them to take the risk in hiring you. It sucks, but that's the nature of things. Now, some small indie developers don't care. You just got to keep your eyes out on things like that. But when it comes to big video games, if it's a Ubisoft, EA Games, Valve Corporation, if it's any of these
Bethesda.
Bethesda,
Bethesda is the one who came after me before I knew better.
you're never going to get the rights to those things. And it's because, guess what? They make their own merch.
Yep.
They can also use Printify, guys. Like, anybody can do these kind of things. So that's the nature of why these things are the way that they are, and why I always say that it's most important that you make original art first. And then if you want to license with small authors and things, that's fine. Just also keeping in consideration that small authors have a smaller audience. They're not going to pay you as much money out. And in the end, they're not going to have people buying merch for a book that 40 people read. You know what I mean?
Man, our From Blood and Ash products actually sell way better than our Sarah Maas.
From Blood and Ash was a relatively big series.
Yeah,
It had more than 40 people that bought the book. My point is that a lot of people go and they open up these bookish shops and they'll find like their 15 author friends, and then they'll get a single t-shirt sale and be like, I don't know why I'm not making any sales. It's because no one read the book you're making merch for.
Right.
So you got to have a little bit of common sense when it comes to these things. And that's why, like, if you're going to make bookish merch, licensing with those things is okay. It's usually when you're licensing with smaller book publishers like that, it's you that's doing something for them, not the other way around. You're supposed to garner the interest in the book through your merch. It's not really supposed to be you making money. But why it's more important that you make merch that generalizes, that's interesting to people who read books in general. If you're making books or merch for girls that read smut, make something interesting. Everybody's seen the mucks. I drink tea and read smut. Like, that's not interesting. Make something unique and sell it to those people. Anyway, I could go on a rant for a million years.
I wish somebody would make merch for my book.
You could make merch for your book.
I do make merch for my book. I just haven't sold any because nobody's read my book.
I've read your book.
Who's read my book? Let me know. Go read my book.
She has a pretty good sci-fi book.
Go read my book. Go read my book.
Bethesda coming after you for Skyrim stuff? Yeah, it was before. It was
I was very young.
Yeah, it was very early on in our career. Everybody makes mistakes, which is why we don't hold it against you guys.
If you don't know, then you don't know.
From the get-go, we don't expect you to know everything. It's just once it's like you get pulled over for drinking and driving, right? The next time you get caught, you look like an idiot because you've already been pulled over for drink. You know it's wrong. It's like catching your kid with stealing the cookies every time out of the jar. Like, you'd think after a while of getting your hand smacked, you'd stop sticking your hand in the cookie jar when you're not allowed to. But it's the people, like, I don't feel bad for you. After the first time, I don't feel bad for you anymore.
Look at all. What's the title of your book? Where's your book? What's the book? My book is The Channel by Starla and Marc, and it's available everywhere online. You can get it on Walmart.com. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on everywhere.
And the next book will be out in the next 5 or 6 years.
Barnes and Noble. I will continue writing the second book if more people bug me about it. I haven't had a lot of
frequently about it.
I know, I'm working on it. So totally, I mean, you guys can leave now if you don't want to hear about it. I'll give you a quick summary. It's a terrible summary because I'm so bad at marketing my own book, but
it's a good book. She hates it, but it's genuinely a good book.
I love fantasy. I do not like science fiction, and I challenged myself a couple years ago when my grandma passed away because I was feeling very sad. I challenged myself to write a science fiction book. It is a neon noir cyberpunk kind of style fantasy about how do I put this without spoiling anything? There is an interdimension. This is going to sound awful. There is an interdimensional cube where resources are divvied out to all of the different dimensions. And it dictates how each dimension receives different resources. So Earth has lots of salt water. That is what gets taken.
You gotta explain the whole
book. That is what gets taken to the channel, which is the cube, so that it, they divvy out. Anyway, my main character, Vivian, who is just from Earth, normal girl, gets a job offer that's too good to be true, finds herself in this weird interdimensional espionage, and now she's in this really weird place and has discovered that there's a strange interdimensional hierarchy to the world. So if you enjoy the kind of neon noir cyberpunky aesthetic, there's a cool wolfish creature named Dax. I absolutely love Dax. He's my favorite character. There's a little bit of Marc in both of the male leads. You'll definitely tell between JC and Dane, he has a lot of both of their characters traits.
I did post the link. I posted the Amazon link.
Cool. Starla needs to work on her elevator pitch. Dude, I wrote this book. How long?
It's been a few years.
It's been like 4 years. I wrote the book, and then like my stepdad was my only family member other than Mark who read it, and it really bummed me out. Like my mom didn't find the time to read it, and my dad didn't read it, and it kind of, you know what I mean? Like I need more people to support it so that I need more motivation to keep writing it, because I have like the second book like all figured out, but I'm only on like chapter 12, I think. Anyway,
the Kindle version isn't available from Italy. Is there another site I can buy it from? When it comes to Italian, I don't know. We didn't do any translations for it. It's very expensive.
Yeah, I'm not
and
sure.
I don't use AI for stuff like that.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
You can get physical copies as well.
All right.
We love you guys.
Your family isn't your customers, though. They're just a perk. I know. Maybe because of that, I'll put some smut in the second one then, since I know my family isn't going to read it. I thought about it.
I told her to. She wanted to try to keep it in that YA kind of category, and I told her to. I'll write the smut.
I'll make it smutty.
It'll be the smuttiest smut you've ever read.
I'll make it smutty. I got to figure out which characters.
I
got to figure out which characters are going to get smutty if that's the case.
All of them.
All of them.
Same time.
Anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you so much. By the way, the cover of that book, I built that cover myself. I photographed like some of the elements that are in it, and I actually designed the full cover. Everything that is on that cover, it's in the picture of it's got a bottle cap on the front. You'll figure out the significance of that later. But Dax, there's a picture of Dax, the wolf, in the bottle cap, and that is actually one of my sketches. And I took the sketch and I put it at an angle and photographed the sketch so that it would be at the perfect angle so that I could tilt it into the bottle cap. Anyway, just craziness. But we love you guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. We hope that you're enjoying Webvember. Please come back next week. We'll be here again. And if you enjoy my coaching, Handmade Alpha Academy is open.
There was a bit of tension in the first book. Smut number 2 would be awesome. Thank you.
Oh, someone read it.
Multiple people said they read it.
Oh, I appreciate you guys.
We love you guys. We'll see you next week.
Gilroy's your favorite character, isn't he?
Bye.
Bye.